Hello all, welcome to another ride along. I thought I'd take you along today because today's going to be different than the first one I took you on. The first one I took you on was a Sunday morning, and Sundays are usually a big money making day for the food delivery apps. So today is different in that it is a Tuesday morning. Going to be starting about the same time, which is around 10 o'clock this morning, and I plan on working 3 hours. Not really set on how much I'm going to make. It's more about the time because that's the amount of time that I have to work this morning. So I'm going to work about 10 until 1 and see what I can do during that time. One thing I will tell you is that even though it's a Tuesday and it's normally a slower day, I am going to still use the same strategies that I have told you about in my other videos. So I'm going to use the same strategy that I use on Tuesday that I use on Sunday. So nothing about what I do is going to change. The only thing that might be a little different as far as what I do is because Tuesday is normally a little bit of a slower day. Sometimes I have to turn on DoorDash, Uber Eats, and GrubHub to keep myself busy, whereas on the Sunday video that I did, my first one, I was just running primarily Uber Eats. I did 9 deliveries on that one and got 3 deliveries on DoorDash. So normally on Tuesdays, on Mondays, I typically run all 3 of my apps so that I can make sure that I'm keeping myself busy and making the most money as possible while I'm out there. Also, although I will drive to my first hotspot, normally on the weekday mornings, I will actually turn on my app in my first hotspot, but if something doesn't hit right away, I'm going to continue driving because I know where there's some other hotspots that are usually pretty good for a Tuesday morning or a Monday morning that I can go to so I can get those orders. So I always start my first hotspot, but knowing my marketplace like I do, a lot of times I won't get something when I first get to that hotspot. So I will just drive through and go to the hotspot that I know where I can make the money and get the order. So welcome to today's ride along, and I hope you enjoy it. I did something different than I did the other day when I took you on my first ride along, in that I told you I live about 13 or 14 miles north of my marketplace. And one good thing about Uber Eats and GrubHub is I can turn them on when I get into my vehicle. I don't have to be into my marketplace to get a request from them. And the reason that I do that is as I'm driving into my marketplace, and it happened this morning, as soon as I hit my marketplace and I was close enough, Uber Eats sent me my first order when I was still about 5 miles away from my first hotspot. So it was $10 and change, and it was a total of 8 point some miles. And I'm okay with that when I'm first starting because like 4 miles of that is actually still driving into my marketplace. But the good thing is as I'm driving into my marketplace, I have something to go do right now, and I can start right away working and start earning money right away. And the miles, the dollars to miles, they'll balance themselves out as I continue on my shift. The thing that I want to point out though is if you do not live in your marketplace, make sure that if you're on Uber Eats and GrubHub, make sure you turn them on as soon as you get in your vehicle, and then as you're driving into your marketplace, then you can actually pick up orders as you're still coming in. So that's one of the strategies that I use to start my day, is getting on those apps even before I'm in my marketplace. Now with DoorDash, you cannot log on to the platform unless you are in a marketplace. They have borders on their marketplaces, and you have to physically be in that marketplace to be able to get on. But with Uber Eats and with GrubHub, you can turn them on wherever you are. GrubHub, you do have to be within the boundaries of that marketplace to get orders sent you. But if you're one of the only drivers out and you're close enough, they'll send you an order. So please keep that in mind when you're out here. And I am on my way to Starbucks to pick up my first order. I picked up my first order, and I haven't turned on DoorDash yet because I want to see if Uber Eats is going to send me anything more, and I still have my GrubHub app on, so not going to turn on DoorDash quite yet, but I'm only a half a mile from my drop-off, so I might turn that on as soon as I drop this off so that I can see if there's anything that they're throwing at me. Looks like I'm going to be using the 3 apps this morning, all of them, DoorDash, Uber Eats, and GrubHub, because GrubHub haven't sent me anything yet, and I've been in my marketplace for, I don't know, about 10 minutes now, so that means that I got to turn on my other app to make sure that I get everything going so that I can keep myself busy. I dropped my first order, and I want to tell you something that happened when I did. I've talked to you in some of my videos about communicating with the customer, and I was delivering to a hospital, and the person I was delivering to met me at the front door. When I got in there, she said, "I really appreciate that you communicated with me." She said, "You are the first person that's ever communicated with me and let me know what you're doing and where we are with things." And she said, "I really appreciate that." So when I talk to you in my videos, when I'm trying to teach you and I'm telling you that communication is very important and it sets you apart from the other drivers out there, this is a perfect example of how that is. Now, I don't know if I'm going to get a higher tip from this one because I did go above and beyond, but it means that if I consistently communicate with my customers, as I've told you, when I get to the restaurant, I communicate that I'm there. When I am leaving the restaurant, I let them know that I am leaving the restaurant, and then my final text is, "Hey, I really thank you for your order and I appreciate your tip." And this really makes a difference in the income that you can earn because it sets you apart from the other 95% of the drivers that are out there. So make sure you keep that in mind and make sure that you are always communicating with your customers to let them know what's going on, and it will really help increase your income. Now, I'm sitting in my #1 hotspot right now. I just finished my first delivery with Uber Eats. I am on also GrubHub, and I've turned on DoorDash. There is nothing coming in, and I'm not one to sit around and wait for something to come to me. I'm going to go out there and get my money. So because my first hotspot isn't very active right now, I'm going to head to another hotspot that I've defined so that I can go out there and get the money that I want this morning. So sometimes your hotspots aren't going to be hot, and you're going to have to get out there and go to the next one 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 until you find that hotspot that is going to keep you busy. So that's where I'm going now. I drove into my second hotspot, and DoorDash started sending me some requests, and I declined a few of them just because it's been a half hour and I've only made about $11 so far. That doesn't mean I'm going to start accepting whatever I'm being sent just so I can make some more money. They did send me an $8 order. They did send me a $7 order. And I declined both of them because they were driving, the $8 order was like 8.3 miles and the $7 order was 7.9 miles. And that doesn't fit in my criteria for what I accept. I accept only orders that are $1.50 per mile or higher. So even though it's slower on Tuesdays, I still keep myself to my standards, and I still will only accept the orders that I agree with. And even if I only make $20 this first hour, I know I'll make it up in maybe the second hour or third hour, so I'm not worried about it right now. It's only 10:20 right now, and I haven't hit the lunch rush yet, so I'm okay with still keeping to my strategy when I'm in my marketplace, because I know that if I'm consistent and use that strategy, that I'll continually get the dollars per hour and the dollars per mile that I strive for. So keep that in mind. And I'm off to get that next order. I got that second order dropped off, and as I was getting about a quarter mile from the customer, Uber Eats sent me another order. So they sent me a $10 order for about 1.7 miles. So as I said, even though Tuesday mornings are slow, if you are running all three of your apps, if you have all three of them, and you are going to your hot spots, you can still make the money that you want to make. Ended up going to be over $27 for my first hour on a slow Tuesday morning, which is a lot less than the Sunday one where I got $36 my first hour. But again, overall consistency and overall looking at my numbers for the week, I'm okay with that. I ran into a situation with this Uber Eats order that you run into sometimes when you're out here. I got that order for McDonald's, and when I arrived to McDonald's, it was about 10:45. Well, McDonald's stopped serving breakfast at 10:30, and this was a breakfast order that I got, so McDonald's was not able to fulfill this order. So in this case, I called Uber support and I said, I'm on this delivery and McDonald's can't complete this order. So they ended up canceling the order for me, and instead of the $10+ that I was going to get, they actually compensated me $4 because I actually drove to the restaurant and did my part. But that means that my first hour, instead of making $26 or $27, I'm only going to be at about $21 or $22 an hour. I'm okay with that because I know that the lunch rush is starting soon, and I'm just going to be waiting on my next order. I got my first offer from GrubHub. It is a Taco Bell, and it's $8 that I'm going to be getting, so I am off to pick that one up. So I got my GrubHub order, and I'm on my way to drop that off, and we're starting to get into the dinner rush, so we'll see what happens, and we'll see what we can get. I dropped off my GrubHub order, and when I was about 2 minutes from doing that drop-off, I got a request from Uber Eats. It's actually a $16 payout. It is going 10 miles, so it's right on the border with the dollars to mile that I like. However, it's only a 20-minute delivery because a lot of the driving is going to be on the freeway. So I went ahead and accepted it because my dollars to time is going to be really good. So I'm off to Chipotle to pick up that one. I got my order from Chipotle, and I am on the way to drop it off. One thing I wanted to let you know is that I got hungry, and because I knew I was going to be out here only 3 or 3.5 hours today, I didn't want to take the time to stop and take an actual lunch. So I actually brought food with me today so that I could keep going and get the full time in that I wanted, so that I could make as much money as I could without having to take a break like I did when I was working the other day. So keep that in mind. If you know that you're only going to work a couple of hours or a few hours and you really want to get the most out of that time while you're on the road, don't be afraid to bring some food with you and eat while you're on the go, so that you can keep going. So I've got about 6.5 miles to drop this one off. It's about 9 minutes away, and then I'm going to turn back on DoorDash and GrubHub to see what I can get next. I dropped off my Uber Eats order, got a $12.74 request from GrubHub, so I went ahead and shut off Uber for now, and I also repaused my DoorDash because it looks like I'm going probably about 6 miles or so for this GrubHub order, so wanted to make sure I wasn't getting too many orders sent at me when I knew I wouldn't be able to take them. So I'm on my way to Salsa Grill to pick up this GrubHub order. I picked up my GrubHub order, and well, let me just say that GrubHub got me again. GrubHub is notorious for offering you pickups, and they show you on the map the pickup location and the drop-off location, but it's kind of hard to tell exactly how far it is, and they do not tell you what the miles are. So I'm really getting screwed on this particular GrubHub order. I'm usually pretty good about knowing and understanding, but it's very difficult on GrubHub to tell how far you're going. So I drove about 6 miles to get here. My delivery is actually 12 miles, and as I said, I'm getting $12.74 for this delivery, and when you take that against 18 miles, it sucks. It really sucks. GrubHub also doesn't keep track of the time when you're on your deliveries, so you actually have to, if you're keeping track of your numbers, you manually have to track how much time you're from the point that you accept that order from GrubHub to the point that you drop it off. So point being is, I accepted this order from GrubHub. It really sucks. If it were Uber Eats or DoorDash, I wouldn't have accepted it because I would have seen how many miles it was going. But I accepted it, so it's on me, and I've got to take it, and it just is what it is. So keep that in mind. If you run GrubHub, most of the time I am very good at being able to tell how far it is, and I make my dollars to mile. But sometimes GrubHub will screw me, and they will get me. So it's all part of the game, and I'm not going to sweat over it, and I'm not going to get upset about it. It just is what it is. But if you use GrubHub, make sure you really take a look at that map so that you understand how far it is that you're driving. So I'm off to drive this 12 miles to deliver this order for GrubHub. I got my GrubHub order delivered, and I'm headed back into my marketplace because it put me outside of my marketplace about probably 6 miles. So it's probably going to end up not being a stellar day for me because, especially because of this order, but also because of the Uber Eats order that I had earlier that I couldn't do. So point being, as I always tell you, is sometimes you're going to have good days and sometimes you're going to have bad days, and you've got to take the good with the bad. And as long as you are consistent out here in your strategy and you're consistent in what you're doing, it'll all even out. So yeah, today is going to be a bad day for me. I'll probably go out and work tonight so I can make a little bit more money after I get back home. But it's just part of being in business for yourself, and it's part of doing this food delivery stuff. So keep that in mind when you're out here doing this. You're going to have really stellar days, and you're going to have some that aren't so stellar, but just keep learning and keep doing your strategy consistently so that you can make that money that you want to make. I got my next order from DoorDash, and it is an $8.50 order going 2 miles from Buffalo Wild Wings, and I'm about half of a mile from there, so kind of making up for that last GrubHub order. I've got my DoorDash order, and I'm on my way to drop that off, and I think it's probably going to be the last order I'm going to do this morning. It's 12:53 right now, so hopefully we will be okay at the end of it after kind of a rough day, but we'll see. I dropped off my DoorDash order, and I have officially ended my shift. However, I haven't. What do I mean by that? I'm still kind of in the middle of my marketplace, and I've got to kind of drive through my marketplace to head home. So when I'm in this situation, what I normally do, since I've still got a little bit of time before I have something else that I need to do, and I've still got about, 45 or 50 minutes before I have to be home, I'll actually drive through my marketplace, and what I do is I leave my Uber Eats on, because that's my cash cow, and I'm going to drive through my marketplace headed home, and if something comes up on Uber that's a deal that's too good to pass up, I will go ahead and take that order. If something doesn't come up on it, then I will just continue on my way home and call it a day. So when I get done and crunch all my numbers, I'll let you know how this day turned out. Let's talk about how this shift ended up. Wasn't my best day ever, although it wasn't my worst day ever. And the thing that really hurt me was, number one, it was that Uber Eats order that I accepted and drove to the restaurant and then couldn't pick up. The second thing that really hurt me the most was that one order that I got for GrubHub that took me 18 miles for $12.74. I will say, though, that although this is discouraging, and when we take a look at the numbers, you'll understand why, I'm not going to sweat it. And the reason this is because that is one delivery, and I've done almost 1,200 deliveries over the 3 platforms to date. So when I take it into the context of the big picture, which is what I always tell you to look at, one delivery that's bad isn't going to really affect my overall numbers, and it's just, I'll equate it to having a bad day. So let's go ahead and take a look at the numbers so that we can go over them and see how I did. I worked from 9:52 a.m. to 12:57 p.m., so that is a total of 3 hours and 5 minutes. My total income during that time was $68.59, and that equals not too bad, but not excellent, $22.25 per hour. Now, the one that was the worst is I ended up driving 66 miles because of that GrubHub order, so I only got $1.04 per mile. Another thing is during that 3-hour period, I typically like to take 3 to 4 deliveries an hour, and on Uber Eats I got 2, DoorDash I got 2, and GrubHub I got 2. So I had a total of 6 deliveries in 3 hours. So I was quite low compared to what I normally do on my deliveries per hour. So overall, my average per delivery wasn't too bad. It was $11.43. So my takeaway from this and from these numbers today is I really need to do better at scrutinizing my GrubHub orders, obviously, and I need to try to get up my number of deliveries per hour so that I can make more money. Obviously, sometimes you're going to have higher dollar ones that are going to take you a little bit further and take you a little bit more time, so that you're not going to be able to take as many deliveries per hour. But if I would have gotten one more delivery per hour, that would have put me up in my $25 to $30 an hour range. So that is the lesson from today's shift. So anyway, I hope you liked the ride along today. The one thing that this is going to show you very clearly is some days you're going to have good days and some days you're going to have bad days. So keep that in mind when you're going out here and doing the food delivery. If you have a bad day, just mark it off to a bad day and go out the next day and do better. Your overall strategy and your overall understanding your marketplace will always get you to that $25 to $30 an hour. Even though the yesterday was a $22.25 per hour over this year, it's the end of March right now. Tomorrow's the 1st of April, and during the 3-month period of this year, I'm still over $28 per hour because my average is that, and I have really good days and I have really bad days. So thank you for joining me today. I hope you really learned a lot, and you learned about what can happen that's bad out there, because there are some things that happen that are going to not be so rosy for you. And I hope that you're out there getting what you need for you and your family. And please subscribe to my channel so you can continue to get my great content. Like this video so that more people can see it, and please make sure that if you know anyone at all that can use this type of content, if they're new into the food delivery, or if they're struggling to get the dollars that they need from food delivery, please share this video with them so that they can get the great content too. And with that, I'm going to say thanks.